Hi, this is Scott McGee. You're listening or watching Nashville on the Rocks.
Hey rockers, I'm Lisa Karkos. Welcome back to another episode of Nashville on the Rocks. Our guest on today's show is a true legend in the Nashville tattooing scene, and if you're a fan of ink, you definitely know his name. He's the co-owner of the prestigious Kustom Thrills Riverside Tattoo shop located right in the heart of East Nashville. Hailing all the way from the Windy City, Chicago, he moved to Nashville in 2008, making Kustom Thrills his home base, where he's been making incredible tattoos ever since. As a talented artist with over 20 years of experience, his tattoos stand apart with his unique style as he takes a traditional approach to each piece he creates. From bright and bold designs to intricate masterpieces, he can do it all. He's become one of the most sought-after tattoo artists in Nashville, even being labeled as a celebrity tattoo artist. When he's not busy perfecting his craft with a tattoo machine, he can be found behind the drum kit of the swampy tonk rock and roll band A Man Called Stu. Their songs like Black Roses Grow, My Dark Past, and Back to Lonesome are a unique blend of Western swing and Bakersfield honky tonk. They'll take you on a musical journey that feels like a dream collaboration between Nick Cave and Bob Wills. Now get ready to grab a drink as we dig deep into the world of tattoos, music, and everything rock with our friend Adam the Kid. Hey, thank you, Adam, so much for coming on the show. Welcome to Nashville on the Rocks. Oh my God, I'm so excited that you're here.
I'm so excited to be here as well. This is rad.
Hell yes.
Beautiful setup.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, I love that. I'll never get tired of people saying that to us. It just makes me feel really good. Guys, for those of you who are listening and watching, welcome to Nashville on the Rocks. So we have with us very well-known Nashville tattoo artist slash drummer, rockabilly, music, tattoo connoisseur, Adam the Kid. Awesome. What's up? Oh my God. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We've been wanting to do this for a while with you.
And just for the record, I just want to say, I think this was my idea a long time ago, right, baby?
I mean, I was on board, but he did bring up your name first. He was like, we got to get Adam on. We got to get Adam on the show. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And then it was about making our schedules work because you're very busy.
Well, whosever idea it was a horrible idea.
No, it's a fantastic idea.
I won't apologize at all, man, ever.
No, it's going to be great. And you have, so if the people that know you, so you're part owner of Kustom Thrills Tattoos.
Yes.
Okay, so there's two locations. There's one in Riverside, and there's one in the heart of East Nashville, down at 5 Points.
Yeah, and not even 3 miles away from each other.
I mean, that's so cool to have two locations with the same name. And I know so many people that have gotten tattooed by you over the years. I know so many people that still go, and we just have to speculate which one do you go to? And I'm the Riverside one, you know. So my friend was getting tattooed the same day I was there, except that she was at the one at 5 Points. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. And that place has been open for how long?
Since 2007.
Okay.
I worked there, since 2008. And then me and Chris St. Clark, who y'all know.
Yeah.
Yep.
He kind of was like, let's build another studio. And I was like, please, because I kind of want to show my creative value within the studio's environment. And man, during COVID, we messed around. We did Cleveland Park, and it kind of gave me a little idea of what I wanted to do,
a little taste
as an artist. And then once COVID happened, it was like, oh my gosh, this is brutal. It's brutal. But from that, I learned a lot, was able to open up Riverside with Chris St. Clark and, I mean, show off what I wanted in a studio, be able to get my friends there and have fun.
Yeah.
Really. I mean,
absolutely.
That's it.
And it works. And it's such a great location. The place that used to be there, actually, Dan, when I moved here 10 years ago, took me there. It was some diner.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was called now, but that was like one of the first places I went to.
I actually got a picture. This might be relevant for the whole story. Is my neighbor that lives across the street from me, his dad owned the studio that I'm in.
Oh, okay.
It was like an old grocery store.
Oh, that's cool.
Like a little, or maybe convenient type store.
Yeah.
But they had like milk, and this was back 7 years ago.
Oh, that's adorable.
It was when he was born, and he's like, "Hey, I think I got pictures of your space,
like old Nashville style."
And he rolled up and had that picture.
That's awesome.
Dude got a guy like bringing drinks in and all sorts of stuff.
Hey man, you got to make sure you bring that in, because we're gonna throw it up on the screen in post production, man. And
we'll
throw
sure.
it up
We're gonna put like a bunch of little pictures in between of everything.
Yeah.
I'm alone with a savage heart. Hear it pound as the fever starts. Love wears a mask in the night. I'm alone with a savage heart. I'm alone with a savage heart. Cursed by this ruby ritual. Strange desire running wild with love's fire. I'm alone with a savage heart.
Started coming to Nashville, my friend had moved here and was like, "You gotta come, it's your birthday, let's hang out, let's party, let's do this stuff." So she had a little party for me, and I met Chris and Clark and a bunch of musicians and stuff, and I was like, me and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, we were like, we already have more friends here than we had back there. And the vision for the studio was always to be like the studio that wasn't like where you came from. It was friendly. It kind of showed a different side of what is possible with tattooing in our minds. Like, obviously, like, tattooing is a broad spectrum, and I love any way that tattooing could be in a space.
Sure.
You know, however you want to do it. I don't want to say, hey, we did it a certain way that is better than somebody else. But we knew a vision that we wanted to portray, and it was very social at that time.
Yeah.
We were out and about.
I love it.
We were all going to shows. We were partying. We were
visible.
Like, it was almost got to a point where we were like, you got to say no to some stuff, because there's just so much cool stuff going on in the city. We got to see it all.
Right.
You know? We got to go to every show. We got to, do all the stuff.
And when did you move here?
In 2008.
2008.
Yeah.
So it was so much different then than it is now. And I always say that, I tell everybody, that comes through Nashville, I'm like, next time you come back through, there'll be like 50 things that weren't here before.
Do you remember when I first met you? I met you at the Red Door. I don't even remember if you remember that night.
Yeah, of
but we're all
course.
do you remember that night?
Yeah.
With the Red Door. That's when I met you. It was years and years ago. That was before I got the ink. But I just remember talking to you about ink, and I just knew you were a passionate dude back then.
Oh man, we called that place home base.
Oh, the Red
That's
Door?
what we called it. Yeah, we were, where it's like, hey, we're done tattooing. Let's go over there and chat some people up and drum up some business. And it's where all the cool kids were hanging out. And East Nashville is an interesting place where it's so creative all the time. So it's like, you knew everybody's brain was going to be on, and they're down to just kind of chat and do everything. So I don't know. I think that whether I remember most of it or not, like, those times and continue to be these times, Nashville still is the place that I moved to.
Yeah.
You know, it's obviously different, but you just have to search a little bit more to find that creative space.
100%.
And I don't know, like you can go 10 different ways with how Nashville's become or what it is, but you got to look to the people. And
I think that's important.
What you guys are doing here, everything that's going on is, you know, you drive down the road, you might not see what's happening in a normal light, but it's still interesting, it's still effective, it's still fun. It's just there's a lot more people doing it and doing it a little bit differently than you did it when you came.
Yeah.
So that's how I think about it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point to make. And being that you have all those creative minds, especially in a place like East Nashville, which is where, like, you know, Kustom Thrills is, I think that, and that's like a spit away from the Red Doors, like a spit away.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to meet other people and just to be in an environment where there's so many cool things going on. I'll never get bored of that, ever.
100%.
You know?
Creativity is everything, and finding a way to spark that, you know, is hard for a creative mind, for somebody that really yearns for that, like, next thing or something that somebody they can connect with. It's not easy to do on a regular basis.
So growing up, because you're not from here and you're from Chicago, you grew up a little bit outside of Chicago. And I think we have talked about this before, is that, like, you grew up, like, your environment was pretty, like, normal, you know, like, it's not like you came from, I don't know, a tattooing family and, you know, like, or whatever, you know, you're, how did you end up, I know the answer, but for our audience, how did you get into tattooing?
Man, it's a loaded question. I can go as far back as anybody would want to go. And whether it's interesting or not is debatable. But I think it's pretty interesting in my perspective because of where I started. Excuse me. Like, the things that I did growing up I was like an after school special.
Okay.
Let's be honest with you. I did everything you could think of, and I was only good to a certain degree. You know, I played every sport. I was good at every sport, but not great.
Right.
I did all the arts. I was good at it, not extremely great. And it kind of, like, got to a point where I was like, what am I going to do? You know, like, I have to eventually, like, I had visions of having a family, having a wife, having a job, having a thing, but it never really looked like anything. But I was creative and I knew I was different. So I went to a community college for a couple weeks after high school, and they kicked me out because I didn't pay any money, you know.
Money? Why would you need money?
And at the time, I was working at a golf course.
Okay.
And that was always a little weird for me, even though I knew I fit into that. But I was in punk rock bands, I was skateboarding, I was doing all the stuff that not a lot of kids were doing in the area that I grew up in. So I was kind of like in between everything. I'm like, what path do I take? I eventually rode my skateboard up to the first tattoo studio I knew about, Ken's Creative Tattoos. And it was in Batavia, Illinois. It had been there for 15 years. It was a kind of a biker studio, and that is a very broad way of thinking about it, because the things I was able to learn there, you know, that's for another time. If you get tattooed by me, I'll tell you all about it. But I eventually ended up going there, and there's this dude named Richie Rich. He was kind of like this, kind of looking down, watching TV. And I pop in. I've got my pompadour, and I got my skateboard, and I was like, hey. I was like this little greaser dude, and I was like, hey, I'm looking for an apprenticeship or anything. I can sweep the floors, do whatever. It's the first time I'd ever been in a tattoo studio ever.
So you didn't even have tattoos?
I didn't have tattoos. Well, I had some stuff that like me and my friends had did when I was in a punk rock band.
Sure.
Like, but it was all just like kind of stick and poke kind of stuff. And so I show up and the guy's like, "Hey, Ken, do you want somebody to clean the shop for a year?"
That's nice.
But before he said that, he goes, hey, kid, why don't you get away from that TV? I'm trying to watch it. And I was like, oh, sorry, man. I was totally out of my element. This was like unbelievable. I was scared out of my mind. I was like, just kidding. Never mind. I'm going to go. And they're like, and then all of a sudden, Ken chimes up. He goes, do you have any artwork? You got any artwork? And at the time, I was in studio art in high school, so I had a bunch of stuff that wasn't relevant to tattooing at the time. Back then, it was like...
It's like your portfolio, but it didn't...
Yeah, but back then, it was like... I'm not saying that everybody was in tattooing for like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but that was the vibe there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I knew that there was fine artists doing cool stuff within the tattoo community at the time. And I was like, I want to tap into that. Ken then eventually comes out and he goes, you can come in from 4 to 10 every day. No pay. Long story short, I worked at the golf course from 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. Went to the tattoo studio from 4 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night, probably usually till later at that time. It wasn't like nobody was taking appointments, so you're just there.
What were you doing?
I was...
was he teaching how to draw or anything?
At that time, no.
Okay.
It was, you go to my house, you clean my house. Because I got a date coming over.
Pick some groceries up on the way there.
I'm going to give you a little bit less money than you need to go pick up this pizza. And then you're going to have to come back to get the rest.
Right.
And then you can't eat none of it. And you go over there and get your whatever you need.
It was like hazing.
Yeah, quite a bit. And I think there was one time where they gave me $20 to drink like 10 things of hot sauce. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Did you drink it?
Of course.
Yeah.
I needed $20. For sure.
How old were you when all this was going on?
So it was right after high school. I was 18 years old.
Oh my God.
Or I was just turning maybe 19.
Yeah. They needed to make sure that you were like going to stick it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was way younger than everybody. So.
Okay.
But for some reason, they gave me a chance.
Okay.
I think anything that I believe in, that they gave me a chance, and I appreciate them for that.
That's awesome.
It was a tough 2-year apprenticeship. It was a lot of me learning and pretending to belong.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I had a vision for myself that was completely different.
Yeah.
Or what I thought was completely different.
Well,
and to be honest with you, I found out that they had the same vision for me after a period of time too.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was great because, you know, a lot of the things that happened in that time was like influential in my development as a person, development as an artist. But most importantly, like, it showed me something that I wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, I was just a kid. I was raw. I was nothing at that moment. Until they actually showed me, they're like, no, you are something. Like, look at this. Like,
That's
you are
cool.
doing things that are worth us teaching you stuff.
Something.
So that was my end, and once I did that, I was like, it's over now. Like, I'm gonna be here every single day.
And you develop the confidence.
Like validated.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually. They were actually very good. Richie Rich and Ken Masick out of Batavia, Illinois, gave me my everything.
Did they give you your name too?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Can you tell us how you got that?
I became Adam the Kid. I was Hey Kid for a long time. It was, you know, clean this, go do that, go do this, which is normal kind of for that time. And still to this day, hopefully somebody is still cleaning a tube out there.
Seriously.
I hope I wasn't the last person that had to do that. But once I was able to kind of like get into the environment, which was very raw, you're talking about a city that didn't like tattooing in their city.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Nobody wanted us to be there.
Huh. Okay.
So for them to allow me to be there that's all I needed. I was like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I need to do something. Like, I love this.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sit in front of a computer. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I want to do this.
So how long did it, from when you started your apprenticeship, how long did it take before you started tattooing?
It took me 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I started tattooing in 2004.
Dang, okay.
Yeah, so I started apprenticing in 2002, and then it took me 2 years of like getting punched in the face, all sorts of fun stuff. I had just recently found Chicago, where all the tattooers were hanging out, so I'm hanging out with all these musicians and people and doing late night stuff.
Yep,
and
fun stuff.
A lot of fun stuff. Yep. But also, I didn't really belong still at that point. That point, like I wanted something more for myself, and I'm not saying that like whatever they were doing was wrong. It's just like I wanted something more. I'm like, I need this to work.
Yeah.
I need to show my folks. I need to show people around me that I can be successful.
Can you talk about what happened next? Because if you moved to Nashville in 2008, like, why did you move to Nashville?
Yeah.
One
of my friends from Chicago moved here and started working at Robert's Western World.
Oh,
and
sweet.
I was like, at that point, I was like full on greaser, throw the comb up, like had all our buddies owned a home bar in Chicagoland area where we all went and we just did kind of like 50s greaser stuff, listened to rockabilly music, combed our hair and did all this crazy stuff. So when I visited Nashville when she moved here, I was like, this is like amazing for me. I was like, this is exactly what I want. All this country music, all this rockabilly music, all this stuff that like I can finally kind of like pipe into something that I wasn't getting in Chicago. I was getting it, but like in Chicago, there was like a bunch of lounges and things, like you could go see a bunch of bands, but like 2 months later, there'd be another lounge opening up and you'd have to go there. And then I was 30 minutes outside of the city, so having to go park and do all this stuff, and it just wasn't feasible. Where here, it was so easy. It was so...
It's also like a bigger environment. It sounds like in Chicago it was smaller.
We ended up with like more friends, more of a social environment here within 3 days than we had ever been able to do there. And that's when I met Chris, and he had opened up that studio a year before.
Oh, okay,
so
yeah.
he needed artists, and we kind of took that as like, this might be a thing.
Yeah, that's a cool connection because that's not a lot of time. And for like a lot of people, like, I mean, I don't watch Masters of Ink. I mean, I've seen little pieces of it, but I know he was on it. So like, I'm sure a lot of people like know Chris St. Clark and who he is, but y'all might recognize him from that too. And Robert's Western World, I love that place.
Yes.
Working downtown on Broadway forever, that was like one of the only places I would want to voluntarily go to that I wasn't getting dragged into, you know, was Robert's. I was like, I can get a grilled cheese and a shot of Patron, and I don't know, just listen to the band. It was great.
Classic. It's
classic
stuff, which is what I always kind of like cater to or like understand is like a creative development of something. I think maybe from tattooing, because I always got harped on being like, hey, you're only here because of the people before you.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, I love that.
Yeah.
Who are the people before me? let's talk about it.
You want to know.
You know, like I want to know all this. I want to see all this stuff that like created the ability to do what I do.
Sure.
You know?
Well, and I will say, because I mean, there's a lot of ground to cover here. And part of that that I think is important is that like I said, have been getting tattooed by you since like 2015 or 16. So, I mean, I feel like you've been the same in the sense that you're always true to your craft. But like every time I talk to you, you're always exploring about like more tattoo stuff. You're always learning. Like you're always like, it's never just done for you where you're just like, yeah, this is kind of what I do and that's it. And that's where I feel like that the whole artistic drive is like, and the creativeness is super important to you. It's like just who you are at the core, you know?
Well, I mean, this is my 20th year tattooing, and I didn't think about it crazy at the time, but then once I actually said it to myself, I was like, you've been tattooing 20 years. And I just became a father 2.5 years ago, and I have a studio that's 3 years old. A lot of things can happen in that amount of time. Most importantly, I was able to kind of like see who I am as an artist.
Sure.
I've spent the last 20 years trying to cater to my clients or the people that choose to get tattooed by me. So I always felt like I was just doing what people want me to do.
Yeah.
Which is great
Right.
and gratifying, and I accepted it, and I love it, and it made me who I am today. It put food on my plate. It did everything that I wanted it to do, but then I was left with kind of an understanding that I don't really know who I am as an artist personally, you know? Like, this might be your idea. Let's collaborate. Let's do this thing. I can do it professionally on you. I can get it to heal. There you go. We become friends. Go have a beer. It's all awesome.
It's all awesome.
So the past year I've been like kind of like reflecting a bit. I don't want to be like crazy hippie about it, but it was like kind of like an understanding of like, why don't you see who you are? You're a Midwest kid who moved to Nashville, doesn't have a lot of international experience, doesn't get to go out and do all these things that a lot of these artists that I see go and do. Is that less important, or am I good enough to create what I want to create? And is it relevant to myself? Like, who am I? What is important to me? You know? So I started messing around, doing a bunch of drawings early, because now I get up early because I got a 2.5-year-old little baby boy.
And they get up early.
Sweet boy. So thank God I was able to get in early, and I was like dedicated myself to kind of seeing what's in my brain, what is out there for me. So I've been doing that, and I found out I'm a lot weirder than I thought.
What you're saying resonates with me just as like a producer or a songwriter. It's like you can be proficient at something because you're just so good at it, like talent-wise, whatever, and you work hard, put a lot of hours in. But then you want to know what's inside, and I totally get that. Like, what is the voice that you have through your ink and your and being proficient at it, you know, and without having somebody pay you, right?
Yeah.
What are you going to do out of your own head without any inhibitions and direction from anything? Like, you're like no reference, right?
Yeah, like if somebody's like, "Hey, play this song that you've heard 100 times," you could go and find the licks and play it and rock it out. Or like, "Hey, draw this tree." Like, yeah, I could probably look at the tree and draw it pretty dang close to what it is, but I was seeing all these people doing way more like meaningful stuff that like went deeper into a brain, and I was like, how are you coming up with this? Is it your experiences? Is it your thought process? Like, is it drugs? What is going on?
Yeah, like, where is your mind with this?
Yeah, and I struggled with it for a while because I'm like, am I just this person that can put on a clean tattoo and have a good conversation with somebody and, you know,
And that's the end of the
and
game.
It was fine for me for a long time until I was like, you know what? I want to see who I am as an artist, like fully.
Are there people that you like? Do you get your inspiration? I would assume from other tattoo artists. Like, are there people that you find maybe online or Instagram, or is it people that you know that you kind of get inspiration from?
I'm a very visual person, and I would lie if I didn't like constantly look at what the industry's doing. There's so many artists that I look at it and I'm just like, man, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, unbelievable.
Right,
Unbelievable
so
art.
good.
Especially this industry is such a complex industry, and I try not to paint anything but a broad brush when I talk about the industry, because it can go in so many different ways. And to be honest with you, I don't really care where it goes. I don't care what people do. I hope that everybody takes every advantage they have in the industry to do good.
That's cool.
And progress and do the fun things that they want to do. And if it's not what I would do, have at it.
Yeah.
Fuck around and find out, man. I don't care if somebody's like, oh, what is all this black work stuff going on, or people blacking their face out. I'm like, bro, somebody 100 years just said that with somebody that got their first tattoo.
Right.
So it's like, who am I to say what's crazy?
Right.
Because everything I'm doing right now is crazy.
Has all been considered.
So let's go.
Yeah.
See how far you can shoot it.
Right.
And have fun.
Yeah, and have fun.
And I'm not here to judge you, because I don't want you to judge me. I just want everybody to have fun, and within the constructs of a fun environment that is professional and enjoyable.
Yeah.
Just like music, and just like all the arts, all the fun stuff that is with life, which is cool about tattooing, because that's what most people get.
Yeah.
They get everything about life.
Life.
As you live it, you're like, oh, I have this crazy idea to exemplify myself through this art form,
I think that's so true, is that it's always about, that's the whole thing about life, is it's customizable.
It's always evolving too, man. It's like, sometimes you don't understand the evolution that's taking place right in front of you, or you don't like it. And it happens with music and a lot of other culture, but it always becomes a part of the fabric of its growth, and you take what you want from it and you become your own artist in that way.
Yeah.
It's like having ingredients. You know what I'm saying? That's how I relate to it, what you were saying.
There's no one way to do it. It's the whole thing about life, too. There's no one way to live your life or do something. So I appreciate that. And I think this is actually a good time for us to pause. I'm going to get some tools together. And I think my fun thing is that I'm going to teach you how to make a cocktail. And I think this will be great.
And Lisa, you're going to express yourself through your own art, I hear.
Yeah, right, exactly. And my art just happens to be with spirits and booze.
Sweet.
But it's great. It's great. It'll be so much fun. This isn't going to be hard. It's going to be easy. I know that you're we talked about equal opportunists when it comes down to spirits. So we're going to make a gin cocktail.
I love it.
Okay. I think it's going to be really good. First time I'm trying this, so I'm excited, but I'm going to grab some stuff together and we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Jeremy ASBROCK, and you are watching and or listening to Nashville on the Rocks.
So we are back now. We got a couple ingredients for us. So I'm going to tell everybody what we're going to do at home, and then I'm going to walk you through how to do this. Okay, so for those of you that are listening, if you're watching, it's a little bit easier to see what we're doing. But if you're listening, this is what we're going to, I'm going to walk you through this so you can follow along. So right here, we're going to do a gin cocktail. And I thought this was interesting because being that you're a creative person and you're an equal opportunist when it comes down to spirits, I thought you might like this. This is an African grown gin. So it's from the baobab. It's a tree in Africa, and that's why it was named. So this is really kind of artisanal. It's an upper class gin. for every tree they like plant another one. So it's the whole like the fruit of life. It's, if you can imagine, like in The Lion King, like the baobab tree when they were holding Simba up, like that's what this was named for. It's kind of crazy. Not for like The Lion King, but for the actual tree. So this is a handcrafted, distilled and traditional copper stills. It combines the purest water and bountiful local botanicals such as the baobab fruit, cinnamon, and coarse sea salt, resulting in a unique African-inspired classic dry gin. So made with juniper, coriander, rosemary, grapefruit peel, orange peel, cardamom, and baobab fruit. So I'm really excited to do this. We'll give
Sounds
it a little
delicious.
smell.
That's a lot of ingredients.
That's a lot of
Nice.
ingredients.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right? And you said you were getting into gin recently, so here we go. This will be
Yes.
fun. So we're not going to shake this cocktail. We're actually going to build it in the glass with ice, and then we're going to give it a stir. So I've been doing it a little bit differently with my guests recently, and I found it's quite nice. So what we're going to do is you're going to make my drink, and I'm going to make your drink.
All right.
So that's what we're going to have here. And that way, I get to judge you silently. No, just kidding.
I'm into it.
We'll have a really nice spirit in the process. And I just really think this is going to be really good. Okay.
It's a beautiful bottle. I always
Beautiful.
look at the art. I'm like, that's cool.
There's someone putting a lot of love
Yeah.
into this. It's a very visually appealing bottle. So right here, we have these little jiggers. So these are their measurements. This is what I use every day. I free pour, but if I'm making like a specific cocktail, I use this. So this is 2 ounces on this side. This is 1 ounce. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this gin and we're going to put 1.5 ounces, which is going to come up to this first line. You're going to see it here. That's 1.5 ounces. So you're going to pour that into the glass. So we're going to get a glass with ice. We're going to pour the gin. Now, obviously, I'm making 2, which means I'm going to do 3 ounces, but 1.5 ounces in each. Okay. Glug, glug, glug. Babe, do your famous. There we go.
My little sound effects.
Your sound effects.
All right, listen.
I just do the 1.5 ounces.
Yeah, 1.5 ounces. You're going to pour it right in there. Perfect. Pour it right in that glass.
And then one for my homies. Nope.
We're going to make this strong. Okay, and then we're going to flip it over to the 1 ounce side. And then I'm going to put 3/4 ounce of this berry simple in it. So I think
What kind of berry is that?
So this is a mixed berry. It's blackberries, raspberries, and a little bit of strawberries. It's actually frozen, and I was making this when you were coming over. I don't know if you saw it on the stove, but I made a simple syrup, which is a 1-to-1 ratio, and then after it was done and everything was mixed together, I steeped the berries. So you're gonna bring this up to this first line here, 3/4. We're gonna put that, keep going.
Oh, the second one.
Yeah, second line.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. Pour it right
Boom.
in. Good job. Okay.
That looks wonderful.
It looks amazing. So
Same
you're gonna
color.
We're gonna take this lime and we're gonna squeeze it. So Adam, I don't know how much cooking you do at home, but it's really easy for you to make this simple syrup.
I do all the cooking at my house.
Love it.
Outside of my wife, Crystal the Pistol, the most beautiful baby in the world.
Oh yeah.
All right, so healthy squeeze.
Healthy squeeze, and we can obviously add more to it. Now, if you want, like, you can buy lime juice. I wouldn't be a credited bartender if I did that because I don't know. So I just squeeze it, you know. But so that's what we're doing right now. And then we're going to use this Fever Tree Mediterranean tonic water, which is my favorite. I think it's going to go really nice with the gin, other than it's the same color. But I think it's going to be rather lovely. Pop the top of that. And I'm going to pour like maybe 1/4 ounce of the bottle in. And then you can pour that. So obviously these glasses are massive. That's a wine glass. That's actually also pretty massive for a wine glass. So we are going to give this a quick stir. Stir it up. And like you guys, you can like pour this over fresh ice if you want to. It's totally fine. Probably should have given it a stir before I poured the tonic water in, but you know what? That's fine. That's good. This is all customizable. When you're at home and you're doing this, you can make it however you want
As long
to.
as you could give it a little.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Little tink tink. That's what's going to
Tink, tink.
separate mine from yours for sure.
Exactly. You know what's up. Okay, now we're going to switch. This is going to be yours.
Okay.
That's going to be mine. That's a heavy glass there. So,
Okay.
all right, Dan, this is yours. Okay, I hope this is good and it doesn't suck. Not yours, the cocktail.
Do we have a cheers?
Yeah, let's cheers, right? Is that
yeah,
what we're doing?
we're cheersing. We're
tink.
cheersing. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you
This
so
has been
much.
amazing.
Hell yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's good, babe.
That's a very nice balanced cocktail.
Unbelievable.
That's very balanced. I am a fan of this.
Don't forget how to make that.
I love gin now. This is my new thing.
This is exactly what I was hoping
Yeah.
that it would be. The gin cocktail.
Well, 'tis the season.
'Tis the season.
I've been wearing this hoodie for about a month, trying to get the temperature to change
Oh,
in Nashville. 'cause
like
it's been
magical
so
thinking.
warm, and this is going to do it.
This is gonna do it.
This is going to put all the leaves
Persuade it.
down. It's going to persuade it.
I'm ready for the
This is
cool air,
wonderful.
man.
No, this is great. Actually, and I don't think it's too much lime. And obviously, if you want to put more lime in it, you can. It's not overly sugary. I think that this particular tonic water, because they make different kinds, balances it out nicely.
Wow.
They're not sponsored by us, but they should be. So the Fever Tree, I have two favorites. I have the Indian tonic and the Mediterranean tonic. So I think this goes really nicely with this. And it does have it's crisp and it's clean, but it has a little bit of a winterish feeling to it.
Yeah.
I could put probably rosemary sprig in it. That'd be good.
What was that in Beer Fest where they're like, I want to freeze it in the wintertime and skate on it. and then melt it in the springtime and drink it. This is wonderful.
And this is the more relaxed portion of the show where I get to, we're having a couple drinks,
Yep.
we've loosened up a little bit. Now,
Yeah.
you told me about one of your worst tattoos of all time. And I just want to know if you feel comfortable enough talking about that.
Oh, boy.
Because I thought it was so hilarious. I went home and told Dan about it.
Oh, no. Which one?
It was,
I might have had a few more.
It was about the guy who wanted to get his balls tattooed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're talking about me, babe?
Yeah.
I wanted my balls tattooed.
Oh, okay. But you didn't get them done yet. That's the difference.
Oh, did I say that
still
out loud?
loathe that man.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Still.
I can imagine.
Thank God I never got paid for it. It was during my apprenticeship.
Oh,
so
of course it was.
I was forced to do it. So anybody out there that wants to get their balls tattooed, I ran out. I'm sorry. So
You
not happening
man.
again. But one lucky person
Wow.
did, in fact, get a nice pair of eyeballs from somebody who did not know how to draw a perfect circle on a piece of paper, let alone a pair of testicles. But
How does one draw a perfect circle on a pair of testicles?
I wish I had something to hold in my hand that looked like balls, but it was a very awkward situation. A lot of people were laughing. I was not. But hey, you got to treat everything professionally. I said, hey, you better clench those things tight. And I ran right into it. You guys can say what you will about it. It happened. It is a part of my past.
Dude,
And,
it's
How
making
long
me
did it take?
hurt.
probably longer than it should have. If I were to do it now, it would have been very fast.
Very quick.
But
Very
back
quick.
then, I'm sure I tried to make it real nice.
It was a pair of eyeballs, though, man.
Yeah, it was.
Was that his
yeah.
idea to get a pair of eyeballs?
I don't even know. Like, I know that Ken was doing another set of balls next to me. So, I don't know.
There's two people
Yeah.
that wanted their balls tattooed.
Yeah, and they rode their bikes there too. So in the middle of summer, so you can only imagine how amazing that was.
Yeah, on the way back home. And the
I'm glad I
subsequent
did
days
it
after.
for some reason. I don't know why I'm glad I did it, but
Because it's a great-
It's a great story to
It's a
tell,
great
man.
story.
hey, if I tattooed your balls and you're listening to this, please contact me. I'm not saying I want to see them, but I just want to make sure you're okay.
Oh, man. Yeah, that would be interesting.
That was wild.
On another end of the spectrum, you've had a chance to tattoo so many incredible people and had so many opportunities. And I think one of the most, one of the people that sticks out to me has been Zach Brown. Yeah. And how did that come about?
Man, I'll tell you what, meeting Zach, doing the things I was able to do, like tattooing him and going out on the road with him, things like that, something I'll never forget. Like, he is such an eclectic person, extremely enjoyable person to be around. Like,
that's cool.
Very artistic, like myself. We could talk all day, every day, about anything. It's really cool. Just as much as like any person that would come get tattooed by me. But not a lot of people are bringing me on their tattoo bus or their tour bus or their this or that. So it was really nice, and he's given me a lot of really fun opportunities. And you know, I've always enjoyed the way that he like sees art too. He has a lot of eclectic art knowledge. Definitely was a breath of fresh air to start working on him for
That's
sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure that something like that, especially with someone who appreciates what you do, and I know we've talked a little bit about, it's really awesome to have the opportunities, and when you meet someone like him and he appreciates you and he's an artistic person as well, you probably feel like, you're akin in that sense, him being, like an artist in his own right. And I know it's been important to you to be really accessible to like everybody, and I think that that's really cool about you, because you're always so down to earth. I feel like you have your priorities set. Like, you have this creative element, and you have tattooing, and you have music, but it's like you're very grounded in kind of who you are. So as much as you learn about your art and your tattooing, and that's ever evolving, like, it's the truth and professionalism that you carry that I think really resonates with people, in addition to your art. What is next for you, kind of like in the next coming months? Like, do you have any tattoo conventions coming up? Do you plan on, I don't know, taking any, doing any new things or fun things that you want people to know about? Because I think that's awesome.
I have tons of stuff going on. My studio, first and foremost, is my priority. Everybody that works with me, I want to make sure that we are all doing everything that we want to do within the tattoo community, or within what they want to do, what I want to do. Let's do it creatively.
Yeah.
So we have quite a few flash art convention things going on. We're gonna commit to doing once a month. Art shows. There's going to be 6 art shows this year between both of our studios that will be open to any age.
Starting in 2025?
Yes.
Okay.
Starting in January, there will be 6 art shows, 3 at Riverside, 3 at Main Street.
Cool.
You can check the locations at kustomthrills.com.
Yeah, we'll throw all that stuff up too, man, as far as all the info.
It'll be like curated for the community.
That's
There'll be
awesome.
a lot of we want to do stuff that works for the neighborhood. We want to enjoy our time tattooing the community and everybody that comes and visits this beautiful city.
I love it.
But also, I'm starting to do a lot of pop-up events for big-time client things that are a little bit more lucrative, which is fun.
Now, what do you mean by that? Is it like you showing up to like an event?
Yeah, like
and tattooing people?
Most of the time I tattoo 40 hours a week at my studio. Every once in a while, I get brought out to go do a wedding or go to do an event. I tattooed at Roberts for many hours, did a bunch of R's on people during their 25-year anniversary, which was sick. And that was kind of near and dear to my heart because I was like, oh my gosh, I get to tattoo at Roberts.
That's awesome.
I got to go tattoo at the Ryman. I got to tattoo Marcus King when he sold out the Ryman for 2 nights, and he was like, please come.
That's
and
awesome.
Do something important on me in my moment. And I was like, of course I will be right there. So
that is
things
so
like
cool.
that, it's like interesting and fun, and I want to give everybody the opportunity to feel like the enjoyment of tattooing outside of what I offer. I think like Nashville is it has a need for the things that like how tattooing can fit into like an album release or a wedding or something that can create an environment where, let's say you have somebody coming to your thing and you want to create something special for that moment. Like I did the Nothing More album release.
Oh, that's cool.
They're great band here, and we did it at the 8th Room, and we set it all up, and people were getting all their like amazing album art tattooed on them. And I'm talking to people that had traveled from Canada, from overseas, everywhere to come to a 3-hour event.
Yeah.
And I'm tattooing them, and it's like changing their lives. And it's like, this is amazing. This is wonderful.
It's
I should do
special
this
for
all
them.
the time.
Yeah.
You know, why not? Because, and no better part than Nashville to do that, because there is this culture, this idea that everybody's going to create and do something fun. I might as well create and do something fun too while you're at it. You know?
Absolutely.
Why not?
Just kind of add to it. And that's super cool. I remember I played a show a really long time ago with the first band I was in, and there was a pretty well-known tattoo artist like tattooing in the back of this small little town we played in. And I remember just thinking, it's the first time I ever saw something like that. I was like, that was kind of cool. And there's people getting their they're getting their artwork done at it, which was great. I also want to touch base a little bit on the fact that you're a musician.
Yes.
Yes. And I mean, we've talked about you growing up with like, you know, your punk background and your rockabilly background, but you actually play drums, and you play semi-regularly in Nashville.
Yes,
and
I do.
You play with, is it the Nick Roulette's Rockabilly
I'm not
Night?
exactly sure how, because there's so many great musicians in this town. I've been so fortunate.
That's cool.
To play with like a lot of really amazing musicians.
Yeah.
Like Nashville is, you walk out this door and bounce around, you're going to find people, and I've just happened to step on the right toes. There's been so many musicians that I've been able to play with that I've always told them, I was like, hey, there's a million drummers out there that you could utilize to create what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I've been able to play at Roberts when I first moved here.
That's awesome.
I don't know how that happened. It was my day off from tattooing. I got to play with Josh Headley and a whole bunch of really great musicians doing a 2 to 6 slot at Roberts, and it was like the most amazing thing ever.
That's
it kind of gave me a little bit of chops and a little bit of understanding of how to respect the space.
Yeah.
Respect when I play, that I treat it as such. I make it a point to understand that, like, hey, I might not be the best drummer, but I am the drummer up here now, and I have something to offer. And I grew up like playing in punk rock bands, kind of street punky vibes. We were in a band called Dirty Sanchez.
It's a perfect punk name.
This was sophomore year of high school. We had a lot of ridiculous songs that didn't make any sense. We had a song called Beer.
Beer. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
That
man.
makes a ton
Which
of
is
sense.
not patented. So if anybody wants to write a song called Beer, have at it. All you do is play as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And say every single type of beer that you might ever know as loud as you can.
I love it. Is there any video of this?
I'm sure there is in some deep circles. If anybody has a video of it,
Yes,
down
send it
there.
to us, man. We're gonna
Send
post
to
it
us.
and play it.
So
And send it to Adam too.
yeah. After that, and the thing is like my parents didn't want me to play music, especially because of the music I was into. It was punk rock. It was like, and it was dirty. It wasn't even like, it wasn't Blink-182. It was like
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
really
You were going to say
dirty punk rock.
dirty
It was
punk
like-
rock. Yeah.
And then once I went to Chicago, that it even broadened my horizons on
I bet.
how good music could be, really.
I bet.
To me, where everybody's like, this music's horrible. I'm like, no, it's sick.
You're like, no, this is great.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I've been looking for this whole time.
And then I guess like I started visiting all the bars way too early in Chicago and getting into, there was this band called Torturing Elvis in a place called, it was like an old barbecue place that played blues music only, but they did Elvis covers only, people band, and it was a psychobilly bass player and a guitar player. And
Sounds pretty
I
cool.
got super into psychobilly because I was into punk rock, and then once I got into psychobilly, I got into all of that stuff. And once I moved here, I eventually ended up meeting Stu ARKOFF, which was the lead singer for Zombie Ghost Train.
Oh, awesome.
He came to one of our art shows at our tattoo studio. Somebody had said, hey, this guy's moving from Australia to be here to play music. He needs a place to stay. And me and Chris were like the only people that were into psychobilly at the time. So we got into the circles, and they're like, oh, well. So Chris held him up in his place for a little while, and then he ended up living with me for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And I played with him drums for 9 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was about 10 years ago, and I cherish the time. He's such a talent. He's so good. His psychobilly band, Zombie Ghost Train, was probably one of the leading psychobilly bands, especially out of Australia at the time. I had seen him in Chicago
That's awesome.
before I moved here, and influential person as far as my development in music, understanding jazz, understanding exotica, understanding so much different facets of music. And I listen to music every day,
And
all day.
Is there a band that you're really into right now?
Man,
Like something new that you discovered? I'm always curious about that.
I would hope. I knew you were going to ask this, and I think about it all the time. I am very influenced on, like, a lot of old music
Okay.
where kind of getting back into my records and things like that. If I were to say anything, it's because I missed a lot of opportunities listening to all the stuff that I listened to. Is my wife actually shows me a lot of stuff that I missed.
Oh.
Kind of like 80s movies, you know, like I
Right.
didn't grow up with a TV, so she's like, "You've never seen this movie?" You know, it took me, you know, I was maybe 35 before I saw, you know,
It's okay, Dan.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High, you know, so where they're like, "You've never
Classic.
seen this?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!" So now I'm kind of backlogging, going through all the stuff that I missed. I'm loving Authority Zero, kind of that vibey stuff, but more or less, I like anything that is gonna make my child happy at the moment. Where it's like he is 100% into I feel good.
Oh, James Brown?
Yeah, James Brown. Yeah. He will bounce around crazy.
Why do I feel like that's a good kids, thing?
And then that got me into, I was talking with a couple people about Louis Jordan, trying to understand like Southern roots music, things like that. But I'm open. I love melodic tones. I love anything with like a good snare. We talked about how if it's got a good snare, I'll
we're in.
But I'm very equal opportunity. So if you send any of your music to me, I will listen to it and I will probably enjoy the hell out of it because I'm very into most types of music.
Again, hit up Adam. Like right there, like right in our.
Hey world, send all your music to Adam.
Send all your music
now.
to Adam.
Send it all right here.
So,
send it all.
Are you playing anytime soon?
I would hope to be.
Okay.
I've been playing with Nick Roulette, who's from Hillbilly Casino.
Oh, so cool.
I was always a huge fan of that guy, man. When I first saw him, I don't know if we talked about him, man, but he's a rock star, isn't he?
If I were to get into it, I played a little run with him, and I don't get to go on runs every once in a while, but I did get to go on a run with him. We got to go play a winery and go play Pittsburgh and do a couple other things, and he is a phenomenal musician.
He is someone that we actually have talked about getting on the show. I just haven't reached out to him yet.
And he's a super duper performer, man. He's so fucking cool. And we want to give a shout out to Andrew Dixon. He used to play drums
Andrew,
for
right?
Yeah. So it's
Who is the funniest person I've ever met.
Dude, we can go off about him, dude. He's the best.
No, Andrew's great.
Yeah.
I love him so much. Well, I think that we're kind of nearing the end of this, and I'm sad about it because there's so many things that I want to discuss.
We have to do a take 2, man, at some point, man, to keep doing this thing.
Well, that's the thing, that there's so much that we're going to do, and I think that maybe the next time we do this, we're not only going to have more to talk about music-wise, we're going to have more to talk about tattoo-wise. And I just want to give a shout-out because you did my tattoo recently, and I'm so happy with it. Can y'all
me too, man.
Yeah, exactly. And this wasn't too long ago. Cheers. And I just want to ask, what is your favorite tattoo that you have?
Oh, boy.
We're on the spot.
Is it your neck?
All right, I'll have to take my pants off for this one. No, just kidding. My tattoos, near and dear is my Sonny Luck, my baby boy. I got on my hand.
That looks fire.
I saved it for him, and I never thought I'd have him, so I'm so glad I do. And
that's awesome.
Yes, baby boy.
Aw, that's so cute. Well, Adam, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been truly amazing, and it's so nice because it's a little bit different, but the music tie is there, but the Nashville tie, the art tie, the tattoo tie, I mean, all things
it's
that I really love and enjoy. Show. And I think this is going to be so fucking awesome when this comes out. And we are filming this a little bit ahead of time. So it's probably going to come out in December. So guys, check out Kustom Thrills Tattoo, check out the art shows, check out the pop-ups, check out just Adam the Kid.
Yeah, look up Adam the Kid on Instagram, right? You get on Instagram.
Yeah,
right?
There you go. Look at that face. See that face? Oh, God. All right, Adam, thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll see you next time.
All right. Rock and roll,
next time, baby.
That's right.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Nashville on the Rocks. We're so grateful for your support. If you're enjoying our content, we'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow us on social media and give us a like on iTunes, Spotify, and all your other go-to streaming sites. Your feedback is super important to us, so please leave us a review as well. Thanks so much.